The men at the firing range were laughing at her. They said a woman soldier's place was in the kitchen. But what they didn't know was that the quiet rookie watching from the sidelines had once been called the Ghost of Tikrit. What happened when the Navy SEAL handed her his Barrett 50 cal would change everything they thought they knew about combat. From which city in the world are you watching this story today? If stories like this move you, consider subscribing to Hidden Heroes for more tales of respect, honor, and the legends who ride among us. The morning air at Fort Richardson was thick with testosterone and arrogance. 12 seasoned soldiers stood around the firing range, their voices carrying the kind of casual dismissal that Riley Thompson had heard her entire military career. "Look, the rookie's here," whispered Sergeant Mike Brennan, 15 years of experience dripping from every word. "Someone should tell her the Army kitchen isn't located here." But Brennan had no idea who he was talking about. Riley's uniform was crisp, her boots polished to perfection. To everyone watching, she looked like just another fresh-faced recruit trying to prove herself in a man's world. Her notebook was filled with what appeared to be basic observations. What they couldn't see were the calculations, wind drift coefficients, ballistic trajectories, the mathematical precision of someone who had made impossible shots in impossible places. Staff Sergeant Jake Morrison entered the range, 20 years of Navy SEAL operations etched into every line on his face. In his hands, he carried his most prized possession, a Barrett M82 50 caliber sniper rifle. "Good morning, gentlemen," Morrison announced, his eyes passing right over Riley as if she wasn't there. "Today we'll be working 1,200-meter targets. At this distance, only a true professional can achieve first-shot kills." Riley listened in silence. 1,200 meters. In her mind, the familiar calculations began. But she said nothing. Brennan raised his hand like a teacher's pet. "Staff Sergeant, we seem to have a rookie mixed in here. What should we do with her?" Morrison's gaze finally settled on the young woman. His expression revealed nothing. No approval, no disapproval, just cold assessment. "Name, soldier?" "Riley Thompson, sir." "Unit?" Riley hesitated. This was the moment she'd been dreading. "Transfer process, sir." Morrison frowned but didn't press. He had more important things to worry about than one inexperienced woman who would probably wash out within a week. "Fine, Thompson. Today, you observe. You have a lot to learn." But Riley already knew more than anyone in that room could imagine. The first shot came from Brennan. The Barrett's thunderous boom echoed across the range. 1,180 meters. He hit 6 inches from center. Not bad for most soldiers. Pathetic for what was coming. "Adequate," Morrison said, though his tone suggested otherwise. "But in combat, that 6 inches means your teammate dies." One by one, the soldiers took their turns, each shot competent, each shot unremarkable, each shot proving that 1,200 meters was the edge of their abilities. Riley watched it all, her notebook filling with observations that would have shocked them. Wind patterns they missed, environmental factors they ignored, minute details that separated life from death in real combat. "Thompson," Morrison's voice cut through her thoughts. "Come here." Every eye in the range turned to her. Some smiled, some smirked. All of them were about to witness something that would haunt their assumptions forever. "Think you can handle the weight of this weapon?" The Barrett M82 weighs 33 pounds. Riley lifted it without effort, settling it against her shoulder with a fluidity that made Morrison's eyes narrow. Brennan laughed out loud. "Staff Sergeant, you can't be serious. She's female and inexperienced. This will be embarrassing." But Morrison was studying Riley's stance, her grip, her breathing. These weren't the movements of an amateur. "Thompson, have you fired a Barrett before?" "No, sir." Technically true. She'd never fired this exact model. "Then observe and learn. This takes years to master." Riley stepped back, but her eyes never left the target. 1,200 meters wasn't far, not for someone who had once taken out 3 moving targets at 1,800 meters in a sandstorm. The afternoon dragged on. The soldiers grew tired. Their performance declined. Brennan's best shot was still 3 inches from center. Morrison checked his watch. "This morning's performance is unacceptable. In combat, a SEAL sniper hits first shot every time. Lives depend on it." "Staff Sergeant," Brennan protested, "these conditions are difficult. The wind, the humidity." "In real operations, conditions are worse. While someone's shooting at you from 800 meters, you're taking your shot. No excuses." Riley had been calculating all day. Wind northeast at 15 degrees, 12 knots. Temperature 78 degrees. Humidity 68%. The ballistics were clear in her mind. Morrison began packing his weapon. As he did, his eyes caught Riley's notebook, pages covered in mathematical formulas that shouldn't exist outside of advanced military academies. "What are you writing, Thompson?" "Observation notes, sir." Morrison took the notebook. His eyes widened as he flipped through pages of ballistic coefficients, wind drift calculations, bullet drop compensations, mathematics that took years to master. "Where did you learn this?" Riley's answer was careful. "Books, sir." But Morrison knew better. This wasn't theoretical knowledge. This was combat experience. The next morning, Morrison arrived early. The range was empty except for one person. Riley stood near the Barrett, studying its mechanisms with the focused attention of a master craftsman. "You're early, Thompson," she snapped to attention. "Permission to examine the weapon, sir, for educational purposes." Morrison approached slowly. Riley's interaction with the rifle was completely professional. No amateur moved with that confidence. "Thompson, I need the truth. What unit are you really from?" Riley took a breath. The lie was getting harder to maintain. 168th Infantry Regiment, Fort Richardson, Alaska. Morrison's frown deepened. Infantry didn't produce mathematical geniuses. "If you're basic infantry, how do you know advanced ballistics?" Riley remained silent. Morrison tried a different approach. "Would you like to try this weapon?" Riley's heart raced, but her face remained stone. "If appropriate, sir." Morrison prepared the Barrett, 1,200 meters, one test shot, no pressure. But there was pressure. There was always pressure. Except Riley had learned to thrive under pressure that would break most soldiers. She took position. Her stance was textbook perfect, her breathing controlled, her grip professional. Morrison watched with growing suspicion. These were not the movements of a rookie. "Ready?" Riley nodded. In her mind, the calculations were complete. Wind drift 2.1 mils right, bullet drop 34.5 MOA, temperature correction factor. Her finger found the trigger, heartbeat steady, breathing controlled, sight alignment perfect. The Barrett roared. Through binoculars, Morrison confirmed what he couldn't believe. Bullseye, dead center, impossible for a rookie. "Lucky shot," he said, but his voice carried no conviction. "Want to try again?" Riley's second shot landed 1 inch from the first. Morrison was no longer suspicious. He was stunned. "Thompson, you're going to tell me who you really are, right now." Before Riley could answer, the other soldiers began arriving. Brennan saw the 2 perfect holes in the distant target, and his jaw dropped. "Who made these shots?" Morrison looked at Riley, who was calmly cleaning the weapon. "Thompson." "Impossible. A rookie couldn't. She did it alone." The other soldiers gathered around the spotting scope. 2 perfect hits at 1,200 meters, something that had taken them years to achieve, done by someone they'd dismissed as worthless. Morrison made a decision that would change everything. "Thompson, this afternoon you demonstrate for the entire base. We'll see what you're really capable of." Word spread like wildfire. The rookie's miracle shots became the talk of Fort Richardson. By afternoon, hundreds of personnel had gathered to witness what everyone assumed would be a humiliating failure. Morrison took the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, today we have an unusual demonstration. Thompson, take position." Riley walked to the center of the range. Hundreds of eyes followed her. Skeptical stares, dismissive whispers, cruel anticipation of her inevitable failure. But they had no idea what they were about to witness. "Staff Sergeant," Brennan called out loudly, "isn't it dangerous giving this rookie such a powerful weapon?" "She'll only engage the target, Sergeant." Morrison handed Riley the Barrett. 1,500 meters, moving target, the most difficult shot possible. Riley took the weapon. 33 pounds felt like nothing in her hands. She'd carried heavier weapons through mountain ranges while under enemy fire. She began her setup. Bipod adjustment, stock configuration, scope calibration, every movement was precision incarnate. The crowd began to quiet. Even the skeptics could see this wasn't amateur hour. The moving target activated. 1,500 meters downrange, a silhouette began its left-right pattern. Riley started her calculations. Target speed 3 miles per hour, wind 14 knots from northeast, lead time 0.4 seconds. She controlled her breathing, synchronized her heartbeat, found the perfect moment. The Barrett's thunder shook the range. Through the spotting scope, the impossible became reality. The moving target had been hit dead center. Absolute silence blanketed the crowd. Morrison confirmed through binoculars. "Perfect hit, moving target, 1,500 meters. Brennan's mouth hung open. That's not possible. That shot." Riley handed the weapon back to Morrison. "Demonstration complete, sir." Now Morrison had to know the truth. In his office, with the door closed, Morrison asked the question that would shatter everything they thought they knew. Who are you really? Riley's answer came quietly, but it hit like a thunderbolt. Staff Sergeant Riley Thompson, United States Army Special Forces, 75th Ranger Regiment. Morrison leaned back in his chair. You're a Ranger? 8 years active duty, 4 combat deployments, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Yemen. Then what are you doing here? Riley's eyes grew distant. Personal reasons, sir. Morrison pressed harder. What kind of personal reasons? The silence stretched until Riley finally spoke. My team was ambushed in Tikrit. I'm the only survivor, lost 6 of my brothers. Morrison understood immediately. Survivor's guilt. He'd seen it destroy good soldiers before. You came here to start over? Different environment, new challenges. Maybe it would help me move forward. Morrison studied the young woman across from his desk. You're not just any ranger, are you? Riley raised her eyes. 2nd Battalion, 75th Ranger Regiment, Sniper Section, 47 confirmed kills. The number hit Morrison like a physical blow. 47 kills. This wasn't just a soldier, this was a legend. 47? You're the ghost of Tikrit. Riley's expression darkened. She hated that nickname. It reminded her of the day everything went wrong. That's in the past. The day your team was ambushed, you held off 23 enemy fighters, alone, for 6 hours. I couldn't save them. Morrison leaned forward. But you eliminated 23 hostiles with precision shots, at night, under fire, moving targets. That's not just combat, that's artistry. Riley shook her head. It wasn't enough. My job was to protect the team. I failed. You're not superhuman, Thompson. What you accomplished that day, it's legendary. But Riley couldn't see it. All she saw was failure. 6 friends who didn't come home. The truth began spreading through the base. Military networks are small worlds. Someone knew someone who knew someone from 2nd Battalion Rangers. Brennan approached Riley with new respect. Thompson, is it true? Are you really the ghost of Tikrit? Riley wished she could disappear. That was someone else's life. 23 confirmed kills in 1 engagement, single shots, moving targets, night vision conditions. Brennan's voice carried awe. That's not just impressive, it's impossible. It wasn't impressive, it was survival. Brennan studied her face. You blame yourself for losing your team? A sniper's job is protection. I failed at the most important moment. Thompson, you held off an entire company, alone, for 6 hours. Your team was caught in a perfect ambush. There was nothing more you could have done. But Riley couldn't accept that. In her mind, 6 friends were dead because she hadn't been good enough. Morrison overheard the conversation. He called Riley back to his office. Thompson, you're suffering from survivor's guilt. It's affecting your confidence. Riley nodded reluctantly. Since Tikrit, I can't trust my abilities. What if I freeze at the critical moment? Morrison made a decision. I'm giving you a new assignment, instructor position. Riley panicked. Sir, I'm not ready. You're more ready than anyone here. Teaching these soldiers will help you rebuild confidence in your abilities. It wasn't a request. It was an order. The next week, Riley reluctantly became an instructor. The first day was terrifying, but gradually, something began to heal. Students hung on her every word. Her techniques, calculations, and practical wisdom were invaluable. As she taught, her confidence slowly returned. One student asked, "How do you stay calm under pressure?" Riley thought carefully. Breathing control is everything. Stress makes you breathe shallow. That destroys accuracy. Master your breathing, master your shot. What else? Build muscle memory through endless practice. In combat, you don't have time to think. Your body must know what to do automatically. Teaching became therapy. Sharing knowledge reminded Riley of her expertise. Her confidence began returning. Weeks later, Morrison called her in. How are you feeling now? Riley actually smiled, something she hadn't done since Tikrit. Better, sir. Teaching has helped. Good, because Special Operations Command has a mission. Yemen, they need an expert sniper. Riley's blood ran cold. Yemen, her last deployment. Sir, I don't know if... Thompson, you're ready. Your skills are intact. Your confidence is back. The team needs you. Riley took a deep breath. Maybe healing meant returning to combat. Yes, sir, I'm ready. The Yemen mission was perfect. Riley performed flawlessly. This time, she brought everyone home. When she returned, Morrison congratulated her. I'm proud of you, Thompson. Thank you for believing in me when I couldn't believe in myself. You did the healing yourself. I just provided the opportunity. Riley was whole again. The rookie days were over. She knew who she was and accepted it. The Barrett 50. Cal hadn't changed her. She had rediscovered her confidence, and that was more powerful than any weapon. Months later, Riley found herself teaching a new class. Among the students was another rookie, a young soldier who looked lost and uncertain. Riley approached him with the same compassion Morrison had shown her. Want to try the rifle, soldier? The cycle continued. From experience to experience, from healing to healing, from confidence to confidence, because sometimes someone else believing in you matters more than believing in yourself. And sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't the one in your hands. It's the strength to keep fighting when everything seems lost. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button and let us know in the comments where you're watching from. These stories of hidden heroes matter, and your support helps us share them with the world. Remember, never underestimate the quiet ones. They might just be the most dangerous people in the room.